Hi y'all, I'm Allison. We're back to play another round of the Valentines Just Spin It, and we're going to be playing for Phenexrose today, one of my viewers. So we're going to be doing 6 spins and helping them decide what to read in February. I will be making 2 suggestions for each prompt, one from my library and one from theirs after I go digging through Storygraph. Let's find out what your first spin will be, Phenexrose. Number 8. Got Happy Valentine's Day. Girls' Night, a rom-com. Okay, Phenexrose, I don't think rom-coms are necessarily in your wheelhouse, but I think I found one that might appeal to you. I went lighter on the romance side of it, and this is more, it's a slow burn. This focuses honestly more around the friendship that develops that gradually becomes a romance. So I highly enjoy this book. It's The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. We've got a dual POV, so you have Tiffy and a Leon. They end up being flatmates, roommates. He works the night shift and she works the day shift, so they never see each other because they're only home when the other's at work. And they communicate through post-it notes and slowly get to know each other. Now, I did find one that I think will work from your list on Storygraph, and that's Read Between the Lines by Rachel Lacey. And here it is. From what I gather, this was actually inspired by the 90s You've Got Mail movie with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. So one of them owns a bookstore, and the other one is going to be responsible for possibly closing this bookstore. And unbeknownst to the two of them, they actually have developed a close relationship while communicating online, because the one who might potentially be closing the place, I believe, is an author, and the other one is her fan, and they've been talking. It is 2 ladies, so this is an LGBTQ, and it looks really good. We are going to replace that with this heart. Cinnamon Red Hots, another tradition on Valentine's, those little red hot candies. This is a steamy romance. All right, so that's going to go on number 8. Let's see what our next spin is. Number 10. We're not moving too far. We've got this cute little couple. Dinner and a Movie, a classic. So we get to pick a classic. I know you've been enjoying, or you enjoyed, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, and we were talking about rereading all the classics that are referenced in here. So I might pick one of those for you. We're going to go with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I love this book. Short, a little classic, and it's a great story. It's pretty much duality. We've got a science experiment once again goes wrong, and it brings out the alter ego of Dr. Jekyll in the form of Mr. Hyde. And yeah, it gets quite dark, and it's very good. So for the classic, I recommend that more than likely this will be a reread for you. I bet you've already read it, but if you haven't, you definitely need to. And let me see what I can find from your library. Okay, you've got an anthology. Short stories from the 19th century, and this has a long list of authors, including Bram Stoker, Oscar Wilde, Wilkie Collins, H.G. Wells. So it's a collection of short stories by them, and each one has an introduction and some notes associated with the stories. So if you've been wanting an excuse to actually pull this one out, then there you go. This one I think was only like 284 pages. All right, let's replace that with, what do we have over here? Oh, that's not cheap. Since I read the bottom one, got a Convection Heart, Hug Me, and Love is Love. LGBTQ plus. Okay, our third spin. 13, my favorite number. And we get a box of chocolates. First date, new to me author. That's a good one. Okay, I'm doing this one a little different. Instead of actually pulling one that's new to me, I'm going to pull a book that was the first time I experienced the author. So, Lisa Jewell, The Night She Disappeared, and I really enjoyed it. It is a mystery. There is a couple of teenagers, they're like 19. They just had a baby. They're happy with their lot in life, and they are living with the girl's mother. Until one night, they go out, and they never come home. Everybody, including the police, say that they were just being teens, and they didn't want to be parents, and they ran away. And the mom, grandmother, she knows there's no way her daughter would have done that. She absolutely loves her son, and she would not leave him for anything. So she's going to find out what happened to her daughter. Now, there's really no way of knowing what would be one from your library. We have talked books quite a lot, but of course we don't know each other's entire reading history. So that one I am just going to have to toss back to you and tell you to pick an author that is brand new to you. Okay, let's replace that with a little calendar theme. Friend Zone. This one is going to be about a friendship and not romance. Because let's face it, not everybody necessarily celebrates Valentine's with a romantic theme in mind. It can just be about appreciating your friends. And not everybody celebrates Valentine's. We personally don't bother. All right, let's get on to, I believe, our fourth spin. Number 20. Key to My Heart. These are actually stickers. Happily Single, a Standalone. That's another good one. I'm kind of combining holidays here. So, Valentine's. Meet Halloween, The Haunting of Lee Harker by Darcy Coates. This was the first book I read by her, and I absolutely loved it. So if you haven't read The Haunting of Lee Harker, you need to read this one at some point this year, because I would bet money, Phenexrose, that you would absolutely love this book. I think it's right up your alley. Our main character, Lee Harker, you know, as in the title. She has her home, it's her sanctuary, and she just wants to be left alone, but all of a sudden, weird things are going on in her house. Curtains moving, strange noises, your typical haunted house variety shenanigans. And it is so atmospheric, so good. You do get a little bit of a break from all of the scariness in the middle. And then just when you're like, okay, it all ramps back up again. Highly enjoyed it. And I have been wanting to read more by Darcy Coates since I read it. But I haven't gotten to it yet. But I will be this year. So watch for her on my channel, because I know I'm going to dig into her list and find out what else is good. But Phenexrose, you will love this book. And if you've already read it, let me know. Okay, from your library, I went with The Paris Wife by Paula McLean. This one is historical fiction, and it centers around Ernest Hemingway and his wife Hadley. They are out in Paris during the, I believe, Roaring 20s. Even though they are very much in love, kind of get caught up in the lifestyle, the Gilded Age, and all the parties and the jazz, and there's some betrayal. Somebody steps outside their vows. So yeah, their marriage cannot survive the party life in the 1920s in Paris. It's made even more poignant because later in life, Hemingway said he would rather had died than fall in love with anyone other than Hadley. So this is going to be a tearjerker, I think. And I'm very intrigued by it. Let's do this one, Love. And it's Dozen Roses. Flowers on cover. Simple enough. Okay, fifth spin. That's really in the middle. So let's see if we can combine two. 18 and 19. We have these kitty cats. Put a ring on it. Jewelry on cover. And we're going to try to combo it with, see, we've got True Love, Power Couple. Uh-oh. Start and finish a duology. Duology with jewelry on the cover. I love both of those prompts. I just don't know about together. Kind of like couples. Sometimes, some couples just don't mix well. Great people individually, but put them together, nightmare. I did it. I combined the two. Skin of the Sea. You can see her necklace right here. And this is part one of a duology. I know I have pushed this book at you before, and you really need to read it. Fantasy, historical fiction, set in the 1400s out in Africa. The Mami Wata, which is mermaids. You get all this African culture and a compelling story. She saves the boy instead of just capturing his soul to release it into the afterlife. She rescues him instead, and she's got to face the consequences. Now all of the other mermaids are at risk because of what she's done. I loved this book. And it's another one. I'm gonna keep pushing that till you read it. Okay, let's move on and find one from your library if I can. I don't know, you may have actually finished this. If you haven't, This Wicked Fate. Here's your chance to read part 2 in this duology. And Briseis is wearing a big gold earring here. So this is part 2 of this Poison Heart. We've got Briseis. She's living in a dilapidated manor that her and her 2 moms are bringing back to life up in upstate New York. She has plant magic, and there's all sorts of trouble surrounding her now that she's trying to deal with, because she's also coming to terms with finding out about her biological mother, because her 2 moms adopted her. It was a really good duology. I've read them both. Okay, we'll go with these roses. A love letter, epistolary, and Cutie Pie, Ask the Stars, a sci-fi. This is Valentine's, and even if you don't celebrate it, I think everybody should have at least one piece of chocolate. So I am doing it to you yet again, and we're going to spin for up top because you need a little treat. So let's see what number we're going to get. Six. So we're going to 5 and circle back around. So you get this piece of candy. Stood up. Respin +1. Oh no. I'm sorry. Okay, you heard it. We gotta respin and get something else up top and then go for one more on the bottom. Okay, and we're gonna replace that with this one. I'm not showing it to you because it's a surprise. We don't know what's up there. Okay, let's respin and see what other piece of chocolate you get. The 4th one. It actually looks yummy. It looks like a Kit Kat almost. Indulge. Most recent purchase. That's a good one. Okay, so my most recent purchase is Elise on Love by Fallon Ballard. This is a debut, and said if you like The Flat Share, which was the book we started with, then you would love this. So this is what I got. Again, I don't think romantic comedies are necessarily one of your favorites or in your wheelhouse. So I'm not going to recommend this one. I'm just going to show you. This was my actual most recent. But I'm going to go back a little to something I got in December, which I think would fit your current mood at the moment better. And this is by Anne Lee Huber, This Side of Murder. So we've got a mystery set in World War I in England, 1919. Shortly after losing her husband, Verity Kent receives a cryptic letter claiming that her husband was involved in treason. She can't completely write off these accusations against her deceased husband because they know information about her that even her husband himself didn't know. So they apparently have access to some government secrets. And I'm looking forward to this series. My son actually bought me the 5th one for Christmas, not realizing it was number 5 in a series. So I went and got the first one to this series to start from there. So I'm excited about this. It should be really good. And on the back of it, it said, if you're fans of Downton Abbey, which is why he knew I would love it, and historical and mystery. So yeah, here we go. If you haven't heard of this series, it's the Verity Kent series. Again, this is another one where I have no idea what your latest purchase was. So whatever it was, grab it and give it a read. Okay, and we're going to replace that. And destroy the board. Oh, I couldn't find where it went. It's right here. Oh, jeez. Okay, we're back. So let's see your last spin. Number 12. I got a pick 'em up truck. Dating app. TBR jar. The wheel. Okay, we're going to do a jar, but first we got to find out which one. So let's go over to the wheel and find out what it is. Okay, you get my mason jar too. I think I had this in mine. Or I had it in June. I don't know. I've had it recently. Yeah, I had it for the January. That's what it was. Okay, this hasn't been cleaned out yet, but that's okay because I'm not actually reading it. It's for you. And we get Prince of Dreams. I think you might actually like this. This one is actually one generation after the fall of Camelot. Tristan and Isolde, but the color is lit in this one. Okay, so this is a star-crossed lovers thing. Like I said, a generation after King Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot, all of them. And we have Tristan, who is a prince, but he's been pushed aside by his uncle Marcion, who is determined to succeed King Constantinople, which would be Tristan's father. Tristan is okay with this because Marcion dreams of restoring the faded glory of Camelot, and that's all Tristan cares about. So he is okay with stepping aside to let his uncle rule in his place. So Marcion sends Tristan to go collect his bride, Isolde, from King Percival. But Tristan and Isolde, they form a bond. She nurses him after Tristan gets hurt, and during this time, they fall in love, and Tristan is now willing to sacrifice everything, even England, for Isolde. It's actually really good. I read this a long time ago, so I don't know how well it'll hold up. But this is a very old story. It's, right up there with Guinevere and Lancelot. So if you haven't heard of them, this is a good one. Prince of Dreams by Nancy Mackenzie. And I think what we'll do is, if you've got a jar, just go ahead and pull from the jar, and we'll do it that way. Okay, Phenexrose, I hope you found some good books in here, whether it be from my library or yours. And if you do choose to read any of them, let me know. I know you are doing a very ambitious project this year and attempting to read the whole, I believe, Wheel of Time series with someone else doing buddy reads. So whenever you're ready to take a break from that and you need, to step aside for a minute and experience some different worlds and characters, then here's a little list that maybe you'll want to dig into. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's, my friend, and I will catch y'all on the next one, which, honestly, I have no idea. I'm still scrambling to catch up, so we will all be surprised by what my next video would be. Hopefully it'll be a wrap-up. but we will see. Y'all have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.